Hey, and welcome back to another episode of the Girl Boss Method podcast. My name is Rishu, and today we are going to look at one of the topics that one of the ladies has asked from inside the program, the Girl Boss Method. So her question was basically asking about how she can enjoy social events. So, firstly, my first thing is always going to be you just literally enjoy them. But I get that, there can be some concerns, especially when you are focusing on like trying to achieve your health and your fitness goals. And I know that things can get a lot more difficult actually as older ladies or older women. We're now in our like 30s or 40s, and you just don't respond and you just don't feel great the next day, but also you find that some of the ways that you handle these social events or some of the choices that you make can impede your progress where maybe it didn't when you were a bit younger. So I kind of get it, right? So anyway, social events, they can often present temptations for different foods, maybe foods and drinks that are not normally part of your sort of day to day, the way that you eat, etc., or the way that you do things. So definitely there can be, you're in a different setting, you're around different people. Maybe some of these people are not on a fitness journey like you are, and so there can be those temptations and urges. And again, some of these are very emotional urges as well. So firstly, I want you to kind of think about being mindful. I know that it's almost sounds cliche to say be mindful, but literally be mindful and kind of come into the social events thinking about, enjoying the moment whilst making those healthier choices. You obviously want to fully engage in these experiences with your friends or like even if it's like work colleagues, etc. And you also want to like enjoy the food, have good conversation. And again, sometimes when you are in these different settings, it can kind of send you into a bit of a mindless frenzy of food and drink, especially if you have been quite restrictive, over the last weeks or months, etc. So, just understand that this is not something that you do every day. We are the sum of all the things that we do consistently. So yeah, so as long as your lifestyle is on point, then there are ways that we can kind of tackle this again without having to do any of the, especially if you're tracking at the moment and stuff, without having to do any of the tracking. So I'll give you a little bit more clarity on like an example as well that on things that you can do. So again, when you are out, you want to start by choosing your foods wisely. So think about filling your plate with like vegetables first and protein, and also never go hungry to an event because that's just gonna open up the floodgates, right? So make sure that you are obviously having like either like a nutritious snack before or even a meal. And I'll give you an example here already. So again, this is going to stop you from doing that sort of overindulgence. Some of the things that some people might like to do is they might like to like fast. Again, you have to really be like mentally and emotionally switched on to deal with this and know that you've got that trust in yourself that when you do go to this event, you're not suddenly going from extreme hunger and restriction to suddenly eating everything in sight. Because like, are you really even going to like mindfully enjoy this stuff? Are you going to be taking in everything else that's going on at these events? So you could fast, or you could kind of like do the whole like protein and veggies earlier in the day, and then maybe have like a bigger meal just before you go. One of the things that I personally like to do, so say for example, and I've definitely recommended this to some of the girls as well, but if, for example, you're going out that evening, you could start the day off with literally protein shake, a large bolus of protein. So you could have like a scoop and a half. Again, you can pair this with milk of your choice, but a milk that does have some you know, good nutrition to it. So ideally you don't want to just like have it, if you're plant-based, having it with oat milk, or if you're dairy free. Some of the options I like is like soy milk, you can have it with, pea milk and like hemp milk. Those are really good choices. Or even just like plain old water. And then obviously if you do consume dairy, you can have dairy as well to kind of like mix in with the protein shake. And then sort of like, let's say that's morning, and then like almost like a late afternoon, you're almost like moving the clock forward, if you like, with these meals, having again a nutritious meal where you are thinking more about the protein and the veggies. And then obviously when you go out, if you are somebody that enjoys drinking, and let's say it's a meal out, etc., then again, oftentimes the food that's on offer is carbs and fats, and there's nothing wrong with this, but again, it can be difficult to kind of consider, or to fulfill your like nutritional goals per se. So just kind of like one of the strategies that I would suggest. And choosing lower calorie drinks, and also alternating alternating between an alcoholic beverage with a glass of water. So again, this is not only going to help the calorie intake, but it also help you keep hydrated throughout the event as well. It just allows that little buffer and space. And again, when we're thinking about calories, there is an ebook guide with an alcohol cheat sheet within the resources section. So in there, you can see generally what the calories might be for, I don't know, certain different drinks. So it's generally a good idea to kind of go for like clear spirits, and then using like a low calorie mixer, or like soda water, etc. But the cocktails and stuff are going to be quite high, right? You're going to end up getting quite spendy in terms of calories on those. So ideally you want to try and incorporate some activity. And this is not to say that all of a sudden you're going to go out and start going wild to try and do some insane calorie burn. You just want to be realistic. You just don't want to get yourself into a lull where you're just sitting, eating and drinking. Try and get moving around, like move around and talk to people, like move around. If you're at a dinner party, move around and talk to other people, moving seats, and sort of taking the opportunity to get out of your chair, right? Or off your bum. Again, if you're at an event, you might have the choice of like either standing or sitting. Try and get up and stand. And again, if you're at a party, sort of dancing, right? That can help as well. Okay. And then, yeah, like suggesting games as well. I mean, if it's an event that you've planned or you're involved in planning, whether that's work or it's a friend's gathering or something. I know that so many of you this time of the year, you've got things like festivals, like barbecues at people's houses. I mean, festivals, you're going to be definitely very active getting those steps in, but barbecues at people's homes, and like baby showers, bridal parties, the weddings, all sorts of things. So there obviously is the opportunity to kind of just sit down on your bum all day, but you could kind of suggest playing some games. So like, especially if you're like at like friends barbecue or your own, etc., you can kind of like make things a little bit active. And the idea with this is to try and like help divert the mental attention away from just consuming, and kind of take it to other ways, and enjoying these events in other ways as well. So you want to plan ahead. So again, especially if it's like the weekend and the week's kind of run away with you, you've been hectic at work, everything's just been crazy, and you haven't really got as many gym sessions in as you'd planned. And then normally you'd kind of like hope for the weekend, but now the weekend is just ram-packed as well, and it's just all going out the window. Try and schedule in and commit these sessions front end of your week. So literally try and go like do or die, don't miss a Monday, make sure the Monday happens, try and get in on like the Wednesday and the Friday, or even it's only twice that week, you go on Monday and then you've gone Thursday, and you don't feel so bad about like not having made it happen for the weekend. Again, this is just going to sort of like mentally stop you panicking, and then also like restricting when you get to events. You don't want to kind of miss out on any of the fun as well. And look, at the end of the day, this is just going to help you stay on track with your fitness goals as well. So I've kind of like mentioned some of these things already, but again, if you are weight loss, toning, health journey, whichever one of those things it is, one of the things you can consider is calorie banking. Again, we've got a full training on how calorie banking works. Again, inside the resources section, send me a message and I'll direct you where to go and what folder it's in. With the calorie banking, you can plan lower calorie days throughout the week. Again, not massive deficits, but manageable. Maybe even like trying to get your step goal up on the days that you're not so busy. So again, that's going to help add to your like weekly averages. And then don't skip. I've said this already, but don't skip meals and like leave yourself absolutely starving. It's a Saturday and you've got this event on a Saturday evening. Maybe it's like 8 o'clock in the evening or even 6 p.m. And you've been so hectic the whole morning and all you've done is literally had like a coffee and then that's it. And then you're just picking. And what are you picking at? Are you picking at a handful of nuts? Are you picking at fruit and stuff? Like, just go all in and have a decent meal. Get a meal in, take the protein off, make sure you're consuming the higher protein, more veggies as well before you head out. So get that bigger meal in. You want to feel satisfied and satiated. And then, yeah, you can go ahead later on and enjoy yourself. Again, I've mentioned this already, but yeah, lower calorie drinks, alternating between water in between. Don't go hungry to an event. Love repeating myself. But I think another key thing is learning to say no and feeling empowered doing so. I think sometimes you might just go ahead and, have more cake because someone's like offered it to you, or have like 3 desserts because they're all there. Or you feel rude saying no, and you might not genuinely fancy it. You might not even be hungry, but you're just doing for the sake of doing. Like, be empowered in your decisions. Know that you've got a goal to hit. You've got lifestyle changes and decisions and things to manage. Again, we're not saying that you can't, but just know that if you really fancied it, you bloody well can. And it's not a case of going, I must not. Just again, mindfulness again. It's that sort of, having that power to choose the moment, to choose whether you want to do something or not, and enjoy it as well. And then again, it goes without saying, when you do have like a buffet or food on offer, fill your plate with better choices first, and then definitely allow for treats, and don't restrict. Just be mindful in terms of how much you're having. I know for the vegans out there, like myself, vegan, when I'm going out, I literally do have to bank in the protein beforehand. So just choose those more protein rich foods and maybe, protein shakes and stuff before you head out, because predominantly when you do go out, if you do have protein like meat options there, you might be okay. But again, it's how things are cooked. It's the excess oil that they're cooked in. It's not all just about carbs. It's, you might be making better choices, but again, just thinking about how things tend to be cooked, because they just taste nicer when they're, a certain way. But yeah, that's mostly it, just enjoy it. And, reach out to me. And again, we can plan ahead this together. You can let me know. So when this is another really important reason for you to make sure that you do your check-ins. Check-ins are not just about metrics or taking pictures and getting a tick box to say, well done, you've lost weight. Check-ins are really, really important for me to understand and for you to actually brain dump and reflect on the week. It's not just for me, it's for you as well. Like brain dump, you are going to think ahead for the week. You're going to kind of go, right, this is what I'm going to be doing for the week ahead, for next week. And then also I'm going to be aware as well. So if there's things that we need to like talk about and like plan together, we've got time, you know, we've got time to adjust things. We've got a time adjust calorie banking, etc. as well. Or if we're going for that mindful option, then also we've got ways of kind of managing the front end of the week. Okay. So again, just remember that each choice that you make has power, okay? It's your choices. It's not anybody else's. It's not that social pressure and sort of those triggers as well, you know, because you can feel triggered and like, again, especially if you don't know people at these events, you might just run straight for food or drink and stuff. So again, just learning to have that confidence and knowing that you don't need to rely on these things as well to have a good time. So we want balance, we want preparation, we want mindfulness. These are your tools to go and enjoy your social events without compromising your fitness goals. And again, just to kind of finish, focus on the bigger picture as well. It's not just week to week. It's not just the here and now. Thinking about the long-term benefits. And again, thinking about changing your mindset and your lifestyle around the way that we view food, the way that we view alcohol, and the way that we can take that ownership and feel empowered ourselves to make decisions that we're on board with and we're happy with. Yeah. So that's all for me. Again, if you're watching this back, please let me know. Let's have a chat about this in the group chat or DM me if it's private. Again, DM me anyway if you just want to like talk about some other strategies for things coming up, etc. That's what I'm here for. And if you've just stumbled across this podcast, this has been the Girl Boss Method. My name is Richu Bra. You can find me on Instagram. I'll spell that out for you. RICHU BRAR. And we'll see you here next time.